Welcome to AWS Summit Online.
Bienvenido.
Bienvenue.
Willkommen.
ようこそ。
Learn new skills.
Apprendre.
Étudier.
배우다.
Lire.
Advance your career or business.
Progresser.
Zutun.
Ainsi.
Voranbringen.
Welcome to AWS Summit Online.
Bienvenido.
어서 오십시오.
Добро пожаловать.
Bem-vindo.
Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Conor, Managing Director of ASEAN at Amazon Web Services, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 AWS ASEAN Summit. This is an event we look forward to all year, and we are excited it's finally here. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to spend time with us. Before I discuss the agenda, I wanted to give you a little insight into the audience. It's really exciting to see the diversity among the builders in our virtual attendance, whether it be org size, experience on the AWS platform, or role designation. What it doesn't say on this slide is that we have over 20 different industry verticals represented, from mining to hospitality to healthcare. I first want to talk about the event and why we're so excited about this year. First of all, we're excited about the size. This is the biggest IT event in ASEAN, and we expect to see 100% year-on-year growth in registrations on last year. And over the course of the 2 days, we have over 20,000 attendees. Second, we're excited about the program we have laid on for you this year. We have 95 content sessions across 13 tracks, with a really strong emphasis on creating learning opportunities through the lens of our customers. We are privileged to have 35 customer-led breakout sessions, with representation from organizations such as TNEX in Vietnam and UnionBank in the Philippines, talking about how they are reinventing financial services on the AWS cloud. And organizations like Globe Telecom, talking about how they are enabling their teams to unlock the value of the cloud. We are also delighted to welcome our international customers, including Pizza Hut and New Relic, to share best practices from overseas. As always, we have a broad range of sessions, from business-focused right through to technical deep dive, so you can build an agenda that suits your particular interest and experience level. Finally, at Amazon, we love to experiment, and our events are no different. So this year, we again have a number of firsts, including our first Bahasa Indonesia track, our first Women in Tech track, with females accounting for more than a third of all speakers, and our first community track delivered by AWS heroes and user group leaders. Overall, it's shaping up to be a great event, and I'd encourage you to take advantage of this pretty unique learning opportunity. I can't go any further without thanking our sponsors, without whose support this event simply would not be possible. The fact that we've been able to scale this event so aggressively this year is largely thanks to our sponsors. A special thanks to our global sponsors, Intel, VMware, Datadog, Dynatrace, and Splunk. Next, I'd also like to thank our gold and bronze sponsors. We really value your support and partnership, not just today, but throughout the year. While the last 12 months have been challenging for us all, it has been humbling to partner with so many of our customers to not only survive, but thrive in this new normal. I wanted to recap on some of the key themes I have observed based on working with customers across ASEAN over the last 12 months. The first theme I've observed is how customers have leveraged AWS to quickly pivot their business models to support the changing needs of their end customers. A great example here is StoreHub in Malaysia, who saw its bricks and mortar food and beverage clients struggling to stay afloat. To help these customers meet the changing customer buying habits, StoreHub launched Beep Delivery, a food delivery app, in just 3 days in AWS. And within the first week, StoreHub had onboarded 105 restaurants onto this new platform. The second is how our customers have leveraged the AWS cloud to enhance the resiliency of their businesses. A great example here is the work we did with an insurance company in Singapore, where they leveraged Amazon Connect to create a fully virtual call center in the cloud in the space of 24 hours to support 60 agents. The next big theme has been cost savings. Clearly, this is a time where the cost competitiveness of the AWS cloud is more important than ever, whether it be organizations in the hospitality and airline industries who've been able to right-size their infrastructure costs in real time by leveraging the elasticity of the AWS cloud, or organizations like Simak Online, an online education management platform in Indonesia that saw a 67% increase in usage during the pandemic. I was able to scale capacity at 1/10 of the cost of adding physical servers. Finally, we have seen exceptional growth from certain sectors, with the Vietnam-based video conferencing provider Trans, who leveraged AWS to seamlessly scale as it saw its user count grow from 1,000 to 450,000 immediately post the onset of the pandemic. Not surprisingly, we have also seen similar trends in telemedicine, where organizations like Dr. Anywhere, Dr. Raxa, and HelloDoc have been able to both expand their service offering while scaling seamlessly and cost-effectively on the AWS cloud. I now want to talk a little bit about the health of the AWS business. Based on our recently announced Q4 results, we are a $50 billion annual run rate business with 28% year-on-year revenue growth. While revenue is undoubtedly an important measure of our success, it is an output metric. At Amazon, we are much more focused on measuring inputs, and I wanted to draw your attention to 3 of them that I think have played a key role in our success to date. First, we always work backwards from our customers and place the customer at the center of all our decisions. 90% of our products and features at AWS come directly from your feedback, and the other 10% is when we invent on your behalf. Secondly, we take a long-term approach to our business and always look to delight customers even when it presents a risk to our short-term business performance. Finally, we remain laser-focused on operational excellence and work to the point where the difference between perfection and current performance is indistinguishable to our customers. These are clearly key factors as to why AWS is the fastest enterprise IT vendor ever to reach $10 billion annual run rate. While we are very thankful for the trust our customers have placed in us and the many things we have accomplished together over the past 15 years, we are very mindful that we are still in the early stages of this journey. At Amazon, it's always day one, and we're really excited about what the future holds. I now want to talk a little bit about our investment in ASEAN. ASEAN has been a priority region for AWS since our formation in 2006. The thing I hear time and time again from our customers is how the size and caliber of our local team is a key part of the AWS value proposition. We are well aware of that and have been actively investing in ASEAN since 2009, when we opened our first office here in Singapore. Since then, we have established offices in 7 cities across 6 countries. The second thing we are focused on is investing in local infrastructure. We opened our first region in Singapore in 2010, and followed this with edge locations in the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, and most recently, Indonesia. Last year, Outpost was launched across several ASEAN countries, allowing our customers to run AWS infrastructure and services on premises for a truly consistent hybrid experience. I'm also incredibly excited about our upcoming AWS region launch in Jakarta, as we look to better serve the needs of our fast-growing community of Indonesian customers. Finally, we are keenly aware of the need to localize our service offerings. This includes providing local language support for services such as Translate and Transcribe for our Thai, Vietnamese, Malay, and Bahasa speakers. Finally, on this topic, it's worth noting that we are still at a relatively early stage in the investment curve for this region, and we have plans to continue to invest across all of these dimensions in the months and years to come. ASEAN has always been a region of technology innovators, so it was no surprise that as soon as AWS launched in 2006, that ASEAN customers recognized and embraced the transformative power of the AWS cloud. As soon as we established our first region in Singapore, we saw a notable acceleration in the pace of adoption. What we also began to see was a broadening of the customer base, as well as an acceleration in the overall rate of customers starting their journey on AWS. Finally, post our field investment in building out local offices across ASEAN, we have seen further diversification of customer adoption. At AWS, startups were our earliest adopters, and we remain very proud of our strong startup heritage and the role we have played in the success of so many ASEAN unicorns, including Grab, Traveloka, and Tokopedia. We are also delighted to see the next wave of ASEAN unicorns choosing AWS to build their business on, including Razer and Zalingo. Finally, we're excited to be partnering with startups across the fastest growing verticals, including Pomelo Fashion, Thailand's largest fashion e-commerce platform, who is using Amazon Personalize to optimize recommendations for online fashion. iStocks, Singapore's first regulated digital training platform, hosted on AWS, and Happy Fresh, Indonesia's online grocery service. The second key point of diversification that we're observing is that ASEAN enterprises are accelerating their adoption of the AWS cloud. We're not only seeing a fast acceleration in the number of enterprises leveraging AWS, but also a diversification in the type of workloads enterprises are using the cloud for. For example, we are working with Singtel to expand 5G capabilities using AWS Outposts. Another example is SGX, Singapore Stock Exchange, who's using Amazon Managed Blockchain to build an innovative payment solution that will reduce trade settlement time by up to 60%. Finally, we're seeing a significant uptick in the number of ASEAN enterprises running the majority of their workloads on AWS, including organizations such as Globe Telecom, who you can hear from later at our Industries Embracing Cloud breakout track. The third big trend we are seeing is the emergence of ASEAN as a key player in the SaaS revolution, driven by 1.6 million software developers across the region. We are seeing an increasing trend of ASEAN ISVs servicing global customers, such as Vicence, delivering AI/ML retail solutions for household names such as Samsung and Rakuten. We are also seeing traction from ISVs in regulated industries, such as FSI, with Axiom SL building a RegTech platform on AWS to ensure risk and regulatory compliance for the world's leading financial services institutions across 110 regulators globally. We're delighted to play a role supporting these organizations build market-leading SaaS-based offerings at disruptive price points, while also supporting these ASEAN ISVs scale internationally through focused go-to-market campaigns. SMBs form the backbone of the ASEAN economy, employing more than 80% of the ASEAN workforce and contributing to over 50% of the GDP of the region. Technology can be a key enabler to maximize the digital potential of ASEAN SMBs. At AWS, we are leading in ASEAN with a clear purpose, empowering ASEAN SMBs to innovate and scale their businesses. We are committed to digitizing 1 million SMBs in ASEAN over the next 3 years. We're excited to partner with both our consulting and technology partners to provide easy-to-use and packaged solutions that can help accelerate this mass digitization agenda. Finally, public sector is a really important segment for us here in ASEAN. We have a thriving public sector business and are really excited about the impact we are having in improving the lives of ASEAN customers. In particular, I love the work we're doing with telehealth platforms, such as Dr. Anywhere. Since the start of the pandemic, Dr. Anywhere experienced a 4-fold increase in demand for their services. Using AWS has allowed Dr. Anywhere to manage patient data securely as well as deliver a better patient experience. What does this all mean? With this level of momentum across these diverse customer segments, we are a home for all of ASEAN's builders. The next topic I want to talk about is the vibrant state of the AWS community in ASEAN. At AWS, we see our partners as an extension of our own team, and we are committed to developing a vibrant and diverse partner community in ASEAN. We are really excited by the rate at which ASEAN technology and consulting organizations are embracing the AWS cloud, and the rate of customer-obsessed building happening in the AWS partner community. There are a couple of trends in particular I would like to call out. Firstly, partners such as Accenture, BlazeClan, and Cloud Comrade are increasingly leading mass migrations for our customers, and are often doing so under accelerated timeframes due to the expertise and experience that these partners have developed in recent years. Secondly, we have a growing partner ecosystem, with 90% of Fortune 100 companies and the majority of Fortune 500 companies utilizing APN partner solutions and services. We currently have 20 partner competencies in ASEAN across a range of specializations via the AWS Partner Competency Program, including SAP, data analytics, DevOps, and Microsoft workloads. Lastly, I want to talk about how our partners have benefited from working with AWS. One great example is ICS Compute in Indonesia, who was named our Rising Star Partner of the Year for 2020. By co-selling with AWS, ICS Compute took on 50 new projects that contributed 90% of the partner's overall business in 2020. Next, I want to talk about an area I'm personally very passionate about, skills. If we are to harness the full potential of the AWS cloud, we must enable the builders of today and the builders of tomorrow. I'm encouraged by the leading role boards and CEOs are playing in driving this skills agenda. One strong local example is Globe Telecom, who recently worked with AWS to launch their Athena Globe Community of Practice, which aims to have 100% of Globe's IT teams AWS certified by the end of 2021. We also don't want language to be a barrier for builders across the region, and we remain committed to investing in localization, including translating our courses, such as AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials, into local languages such as Bahasa, or AWS Security Fundamentals into Thai. We are also committed to enabling the builders of tomorrow through our work with the 6 higher learning institutes here in Singapore, to integrate AWS-designed education into their curriculum. Finally, our vision at AWS is not only to help our customers, but to be able to contribute to nation building. As part of this mission, we've made a commitment to upskill hundreds of thousands of Indonesians by 2025. As I mentioned earlier, we are investing heavily in the local AWS teams across ASEAN. At AWS, we are committed to building partnerships with our customers that outlast all of us. We also know that adopting cloud is a reinvention journey, and having local teams that are both Amazonian and culturally aligned with the customers and partners they interact with every day is critical to our long-term success. That's why we are committed to investing in multidimensional, cross-functional teams, as close to you, our customers and partners, as possible. So to quickly recap on the topics I've covered over the last 10 minutes or so, we have a meaningful business both globally and in ASEAN, but it remains early. ASEAN remains a very strategic region for AWS. We've made substantial investments, but we're nowhere near done. And last but not least, we have a thriving community of builders in ASEAN, and we remain committed to investing to further support and scale this vibrant community. Finally, I want to thank you again for investing your time with us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to your feedback. Have a great day and enjoy the event.
Hello. I know we are all very much looking forward to a time when we can gather safely again, and I'm optimistic that time is coming soon. But for now, I'm excited to be here virtually in Seattle, Washington, with our audiences around the globe. Around the world, we've all experienced rapid change and new challenges this past year. When faced with unprecedented disruption and challenges, it's critical that your business has the flexibility to adjust quickly. For example, over the last year, our customers like Zoom and Netflix were able to quickly adapt to unprecedented global demand changes. An important part of helping customers to respond to these uncertain times was the elasticity of our services. Customers have asked us how we responded to the pandemic and to make sure that our customers could scale and respond to changes in their business. Like everyone, we had to adjust to lots of challenges on the fly. But the elasticity of AWS services is something that we have been building since day one. In fact, it goes all the way back to our original EC2 tenants. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is a tenant? Well, let me explain. A tenant is simply a principle or a belief. Tenants don't tell you what to do. They provide a guide to follow and give you the freedom to make the best choices for your customers. If you've ever found yourself in an endless series of meetings going around and around on a decision, it's probably a good sign that you did not have a shared set of tenets. Too often, people argue about path A or path B, going back and forth, and they don't realize the reason they're arguing is that they are not in alignment on the very fundamental assumptions that are driving their decision. Writing down your tenets is really valuable to get everyone in agreement on critical questions. When you have your tenets in hand, you don't need to rehash or debate your direction with every decision in every meeting. Now, when we launched Amazon EC2 back in 2006, we spent some time debating our tenets for the service. What were the most important things we needed to make EC2 a success? Getting aligned on these tenets would make it easier for us to subsequently make decisions on prioritization of specific roadmap items. I pulled out one of our early EC2 documents and had a look at our original tenets, and you can see them listed here. Now, these are punchy one-word summary of the tenets. Each tenet was actually laid out in a fair bit of detail, but for our purposes here, these one-word summaries will work. As you can see, the first two tenets are secure and reliable. Now, if you've spent any time with us, this should not come as a surprise. Everything for us starts with security. It's job one and the most important product tenet. And other than security, nothing is more important than the availability of our services. We had conviction on this since day one. It's why availability zones was one of the first features we launched. The other 4 tenets are around important product attributes. Elastic is an interesting one. It's pretty high on the list. And maybe that doesn't surprise you, because it is super important that customers are able to scale when they need to. After all, we thought it was pretty important. We named the service the Elastic Compute Cloud. Today, we think of elasticity as just another dimension of availability. It remains that important. And our focus on elasticity is a big part on why we were able to help so many customers respond to the sudden and unexpected changes in their business over the last year. You also see cost-effective up there. We knew that no matter how compelling our service, that price was one of the most important features to our customers. And that's why we've reduced prices 106 times since AWS was launched in 2006. And we relentlessly focus on lowering the cost of our infrastructure so that we have the cost structure to allow us to continue lowering prices. And of course, you see easy to use. The cloud's a new concept, and we knew that making it easy for users to get started and grow with the services would be fundamental to getting the adoption we want. The tenet that I really want to talk to you about today is flexible. At Amazon, even before we launched AWS, we had a very deeply held belief that telling developers that they must use a particular tool was a great way to slow them down and stifle innovation. Before I started working on EC2, I ran an engineering team that was responsible for many of our core Amazon technologies. Things like the software used to run our websites or the libraries used by our services to communicate with one another. And we supported multiple ways of doing each of these things. And even then, some team across the company was likely experimenting with something new. We didn't try to slow this down. Rather, it was encouraged. Not only did this approach lead to innovation, it made Amazon a better place for builders to build. Developers really want to have the flexibility to choose the tools that work best for their applications. And the AWS cloud gives you the flexibility to build the way you want to meet the changing needs of your products and your customers. Today, we want to show you how this strongly held tenet that flexibility really matters has influenced what we've built. Now, this slide does a good job of showing our commitment to giving AWS customers the flexibility they need to invent. Whether you're talking about compute or storage or database or machine learning or developer tools or IoT, in every one of these categories, you get a lot more functionality and options with AWS than anywhere else. Today, we're going to cover how compute options give you the right tools for the jobs. But we're also going to look at how storage, analytics, machine learning services give you flexible options to get the most value out of your data. And we'll also look at how our hybrid solutions give you the flexibility to run your workloads wherever you need to. Let's start off by looking at compute. Compute's changed quite a bit since we launched EC2 15 years ago with a single instance type. Today, there are 3 major modes of compute, and a lot of options within each one of these modes. EC2 instances are the traditional way that people use compute on AWS. They remain a great option for many applications, particularly when workloads need all the resources of the server or require always-on computing or specialized compute capabilities. Containers provide smaller, more easily managed units of compute. They're great for building microservices. And event-based serverless computing provides another option when you don't want to or need to manage instances or containers at all. We believe that all 3 of these modes of compute are here to stay, and each is well suited to certain types of tasks and applications. And taken together, they give you the flexibility to choose the right tool for the job. But it's more than just supporting each of these modes. To truly give customers flexibility, you need to support the most options within each of these areas. Let's look at instances. If you look at Amazon EC2, which provides computing capacity to support virtually any workload, we not only have the broadest array of instances, but we also have the most powerful instance capabilities. These are things like the fastest networking instances. We have 100 gigabits per second in most of our recent instances, and up to 400 gigabits per second in our P4DS instances. We have the largest high memory instances with up to 24 terabytes, which are great for SAP workloads. We have the largest local storage instances with our D3EN instances, providing up to 336 terabytes of local storage. We have the most powerful machine learning training instances with our P4DS instance types. And we have the most powerful machine learning inference instances with our inferentia-based Inf1 instances. We have the best price performance graphics instances with our G4ADs. We support any operating system you want, including several variants of Linux and Windows. And we're the only cloud provider to give you an on-demand Mac OS instance type. And if we don't support the operating system you need, we're the only cloud that allows you to run any operating system on bare metal with all the capabilities and elasticity you expect from an instance. We're also the only provider that gives you the ability to run instances with Intel, AMD, and ARM processors. Now, that's a lot of flexibility to match your instance to your application needs. It's one thing to have a tenant that says you need to be flexible, but that's not enough. If you want to be able to deliver this sort of flexibility, you need to innovate. Let's look at two of the biggest innovations that are enabling flexibility for compute. The first innovation is how we build our instances. The way we did this when we launched EC2, and the way that most cloud providers still do this today, is with software virtualization. Virtualization uses software running on the main server to create an abstraction layer that allows the hardware of the server, the processor, the memory, the storage, to be secured and to be divided up into multiple virtual instances. The problem with this approach is that software virtualization technologies are complex. And because this software needs to be optimized for every server type in your fleet, it slows down your ability to support new instance types. Virtualization is also inefficient. It can consume 10 to 30% of the server resources just to run the virtualization layer. And because it uses the same resources as the customer instances, this means that software virtualized instances always have lower performance than bare metal servers. Because of these problems, we reinvented how we build EC2 instances with something we call Nitro. What we did with Nitro was to move all this virtualization functionality off the main server and onto its own specialized Nitro chip. This completely removes the virtualization overhead and means that we can devote all the server resources to the customer's EC2 instances, which increases performance and reduces cost. And because all of this work is done on specialized Nitro chips, the cost of supporting new instance variants is significantly reduced. Nitro is the reason that we've been able to launch new instances so quickly. Instead of every 2 to 3 years, where you used to wait to get new instance types, you now get innovative, brand new, change the game type of instances every few months. We launched the first EC2 Mac-based instance a few months ago. And I think it really helps illustrate how Nitro has allowed us to innovate more quickly. Let's have a look. What you can see here is that the EC2 Mac instance is actually a rack-mounted Mac Mini. We did not make any changes to the Mac hardware. Instead, we simply connected a Nitro controller via the Mac's Thunderbolt connector. That's it. Now when you launch a Mac instance, your Mac-compatible AMI runs directly on the Mac Mini. No hypervisor. The Nitro controller sets up the instance and provides secure access to the EC2 network and any storage you'd attach to the instance. And that Mac Mini, it can now natively use any AWS service. It has low latency, high throughput access to services like Amazon S3 or Amazon Aurora, all the great stuff that comes with being an EC2 instance. And because all of this happens outside of the Mac Mini, you get the resources of the Mac dedicated to your workload, just like if it was running on your desktop. Hopefully, you can see why Nitro has had such a game-changing impact for us in providing unparalleled flexibility into EC2 customers. And Nitro leads us to our second big innovation that I want to talk about. And that's our investment in AWS custom silicon, or chips. I mentioned that with Nitro, we moved from software virtualization to using custom Nitro chips. And here, you can see that we're on our 4th generation of Nitro chip. Each generation has allowed us to improve performance and add new EC2 features. And Nitro allows us to support the broadest range of instance platforms, including Intel, AMD, ARM, and NVIDIA computing options. And this allows you to select the best processor for your workload. And we're excited to continue to support all the innovative processors that these companies are putting out, but we also saw an opportunity to innovate on our own AWS custom processors to give our customers even more flexibility. These chips, which we call Graviton, Inferentia, and Trainium, are specially designed to help AWS customers improve performance and lower cost on their most demanding workloads. Let's have a look at how these 3 new chips are giving you even more flexibility. We launched our 2nd generation Graviton 2 chip last year. Graviton 2 is an ARM-based general-purpose processor that can be used to run almost any of your workloads. And it has specifically been designed for scale-out computing workloads, which dominate most modern architectures. For many applications, Graviton 2 will provide the highest absolute performance of any EC2 instance. And depending on your workload, Graviton can deliver 40% better price performance over comparable current generation x86-based instances. But don't just take my word for it. Our customers like Snap, Lyft, Nextroll, and SmugMug have all stated that adopting Graviton 2-based instances was quite easy, and they were able to do so in just a few days. What's really exciting is seeing the success these customers are having once they've moved their workloads to Graviton 2. Lyft is seeing 30% better price performance, Nextroll is getting 50% better cost savings, and SmugMug is seeing a 40% price performance improvement. Having another processor to choose from is great, but to make optimal use of it, you need an instance that fits your workload. And we have that covered as well. Graviton 2 processors power Amazon EC2 M6G, T4G, C6G, R6G, and X2GD instances. The latest addition to the Graviton portfolio is the X2GD instances, which provide up to 55% better performance compared to the previous generation X1 instance. This broad instance selection means that there's an optimized Graviton 2 instance for most workloads, whether you need to run microservices, high-performance computing, CPU-based machine learning inference, electronic design automation, gaming, open source databases, in-memory caches, you name it. Oh, and the T4G instances are available with a free trial until June 30th. So there's really never been a better time to try Graviton 2. Okay, the other big area of AWS chip investment is machine learning. In 2019, we released our first machine learning chip, AWS Inferentia. We targeted inference because for most at-scale workloads, the cost of inference represents the vast majority of the machine learning cost. And for a successful application like Amazon Alexa, this can be a lot of inference. Inferentia provides the highest throughput option for running inference on AWS. And on a price performance basis, which matters a lot, they're almost half the cost per inference when compared to GPUs. And the best news is how little work it is to try Inferentia with your machine learning workload. Our AWS Neuron software development kit allows machine learning developers to use Inferentia as a target for popular frameworks, including TensorFlow, PyTorch, and MXNet. With Neuron, they can take advantage of the cost savings and performance of Inferentia with little or no change to their code. The other major component of machine learning is training models. And as I mentioned earlier, AWS already has the most powerful training platform in the cloud with our P4 instances. But customers have understandably asked us to bring the same benefits we brought to inference to their training workloads. To improve training, we're building another custom machine learning chip that we call Trainium. Like Graviton and Inferentia, we're optimizing it to run in the AWS cloud and expect it to offer significant price performance advantages over other options. Our Trainium-based instances will also provide the best absolute performance for your most demanding training workloads. Like Inferentia, we use Neuron to allow customers to easily make use of Trainium from all the popular machine learning frameworks. Okay, Hopefully you have a better sense of how our belief in driving flexibility is driving us to innovate. Of course, what really excites us most is seeing how this flexibility enables our customers to invent and deliver amazing results. Next up is Yessie Yosetya, Chief of Information and Digital Officer at XL Axiata, to share how AWS helped them transition to container-based applications, which resulted in greater agility and cost savings for one of Indonesia's largest telco operators.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be speaking at the AWS Summit this year. I'm Yessie Yosetya, Chief of Information and Digital Officer at XL Axiata. Let me tell you a bit about XL Axiata. XL Axiata is a part of Axiata Group, one of the largest telecommunication conglomerates in Asia. We have started our commercial operations back in October '96, and today we are one of the largest cellular operator in Indonesia. XL Axiata has a comprehensive network of more than 54,000 4G eNote B and a total of more than 144,000 base stations as of December 2020. We are one of the few operators with a wide fiber optic network with more than 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic transmission. And XL Axiata is strongly positioned as one of the leaders in mobile data service. Around 89% of total customers are smartphone users. We have 57.8 million customers at the end of December 2020, and our business today covers more than 95% of total population in Indonesia, from Sabang to Merauke. We have a vision to be the first converged operator in Indonesia, an all-digital telco that is able to personalize experience and drive to the highest customer satisfaction. And we have a purpose to bring the world closer in a simple way for a brighter life. And in response to COVID-19, we changed our strategy, our 3R strategy, to be reimagine business model, reimagine our operations, and reimagine our ways of working. With a culture of uncompromising integrity, team synergy, simplicity, and exceptional performance, we know that we are ready to embark to the next chapter of our company, which is digital transformation. Now, let me share a bit about our challenges. There were a number of infrastructure challenges that we faced prior to moving to the cloud. Firstly, we had a limited capacity of service application infrastructure. For example, our on-premise infra required us 2 months for it to be ready and to expand the capacity. Second, we also had a time lag for developing and deploying apps due to our monolithic applications and lack of flexibility in making changes. It was hard to compete with digital native companies. Bear in mind, we started off in 1996, so 95% of our system and applications are legacies. And thirdly, we face a high cost, including high upfront CapEx and also OpEx for data center operations. Now, for us to be able to deploy XL Axiata 3R strategy, reimagine our business model, reimagine our operations, and the way of working, we are embracing cloud transformation journey. Probably you're going to ask, then why did XL Axiata choose to work with AWS? When we look at our strategy, in order for XL Axiata to become an all-digital telco, we had to invest in a number of areas, such as application modernization. We need to move and recode to containers, and also implement DevOps. And as part of our cloud-native approach, we focus on developing a microservices architecture and breaking down our existing monoliths to allow for greater flexibility and agility. And to achieve this, we focus on containerization of our applications, continuous integration and delivery to speed up our cloud adoption journey. In all, XL Axiata is pursuing double the productivity and around 15% to 20% cost savings in 5 years TCO from leveraging public cloud. Among all the data that is moved to AWS, some applications already running in the cloud, including our touchpoint, MyXL, AxisNet, xl.co.id, our corporate web, and our product web. Two of our mobile applications, which is MyXL and AxisNet, are using Amazon EKS. MyXL launched end of last year. And in addition to customer-related functions, we have also migrated our business process system, including SAP for HANA in AWS. We were able to launch SAP for HANA modules within 7 to 14 days after contract signing. We also migrated our sales system distribution because we need the application to be placed in a flexible infrastructure. Our sales and distribution system, which we call IDEX Pro, has a reduction in infra spend for more than 50% of the TCO. And as for our database, we have started to use Amazon Aurora, PostgreSQL in Amazon, and also MySQL in Amazon. And by using managed databases, we can focus more on the applications rather than managing the databases. And using open source help us to lower down the TCO even further. So let me share a bit about our future plans. The most important part when you are embarking for a cloud transformation journey is to build a cloud center of excellence. To accelerate our cloud adoption, we will need to establish a cloud center of excellence. The reason is that this will be needed to develop our cloud governance and reusable frameworks. It's needed to manage our cloud knowledge and learning, also overseeing cloud usage and plans for scale, and aligning organizational and business process strategy to cloud model. Remember, because when you start to the cloud journey, the people and process that needs to be adopted. The second part of our future plans is to see the public cloud in Indonesia. As an Indonesian company, XL Axiata must comply to Indonesian government's data localization requirements for PII data. And with cloud providers such as AWS launching regions locally, we will be able to move more workloads on the public cloud in the future. Lastly, on our future plans, we would like to accelerate broader applications on cloud. We are planning to expand our applications on the cloud to big data analytics, automation, and AI. This will allow us to harness customer insights to deliver personalized customer experience and greater customer satisfaction. In closing, partnering with AWS will enable XL Axiata to continue innovating for sustainable business growth.
Such amazing progress and important work. We talked about how we are innovating to give you the most flexibility in your instances. Now, let's look at innovations in computing. Let's start with containers. Developers really love containers. Containers allow you to use smaller, more portable units of compute. And because containers further simplify the computing infrastructure, they allow you to build things even faster. If you look at the growth of containers in computing, it's astounding. 80% of cloud-hosted containers run on AWS. And that's because while most other providers have one container offering, typically managed Kubernetes, AWS gives you the flexibility of 3 separate container options. There are thousands of organizations that already have experience running containers at scale with Kubernetes. For these customers, we have EKS. EKS is great because it lets you focus on your services and container needs, not on running, managing, and patching of Kubernetes itself. It allows engineers who are already familiar with the Kubernetes ecosystem to get up and running quickly on AWS. AWS has been natively supporting container development since 2014, when we launched ECS, or the Amazon Elastic Container Service. ECS is our AWS-inspired way of managing containers. ECS focuses on simplicity and ease of use, allowing you to manage your containers using APIs in the same way you manage your other AWS resources. ECS has deep integration with a broad set of AWS services. Our customers tell us they love the flexibility of these two container services, ECS and EKS. But many of these customers have told us they would prefer not to have to worry about servers or clusters at all. They would prefer to manage containers at the task level. And that's why we built AWS Fargate. AWS Fargate empowers you to run containers without having to manage servers or clusters at all. Fargate is really simple to use. You specify the CPU and memory you need, you define the network and the identity requirements, and then you upload everything to Fargate. And from there, Fargate deploys your application tasks for you. It automatically scales up and down. It deploys across multiple availability zones for high availability. Managing containers at the task level is simpler than running them at the server level. And we're seeing that the vast majority of new container customers on AWS are starting with Fargate. Today, all three of our container offerings continue to grow unbelievably fast. And we actually have a lot of customers who use 2 or even 3 of these container offerings, because different teams have different preferences and different use cases, and they want the right tool for the job. Containers are popular because they remove even more of the complexity of running your own infrastructure. But several years ago, we asked ourselves if we could simplify things even further. And that's why we built Lambda. Lambda enables event-driven serverless computing, which allows you to write applications without managing servers or containers at all. Instead, you identify the events that you're interested in, and you use AWS Lambda to respond to these events with something called functions. Functions are the code that you write to do useful work. And when an event occurs, Lambda spins up the necessary compute to run your function and shuts it back down when your function is done. And this is all done in a fault-tolerant way with no work from you. And with Lambda, you're only charged for the time that your functions are running. For a very large number of applications, event-driven serverless computing using Lambda is the best tool. If you look at the new applications that we built inside of Amazon in 2020, half of them are using Lambda as their compute engine. With event-based serverless computing, flexibility matters as well. First, you need the flexibility to run any function you want. And with Lambda, functions can be as small or as large as you need, up to 10 gigabytes with 6 cores running for a full 15 minutes. But functions are built at the millisecond granularity. And to really make Lambda the go-to tool in your toolbox, we need to support the broadest and most flexible way to create events. And that's exactly what we're doing. When we first launched Lambda back in 2014, we integrated it with services like Amazon S3 and DynamoDB to trigger jobs when data changed. And this made it very useful for processing data. But customers told us they wanted to do so much more. Today, Lambda is integrated with 140 different AWS services and events. These are purpose-built services, and there are a set of purpose-built services to help you build all kinds of serverless applications. For example, API Gateway allows you to publish and manage your APIs to make it easy to build serverless web apps. And Event Bridge and Step Functions allow you to create sophisticated serverless applications without spending time on the undifferentiated glue code and workflow management. All of this without having to manage any underlying infrastructure. Now you can completely focus on your application and your code and leave the heavy lifting of everything else to AWS. Hopefully, you can see how our incredible pace of innovation is giving you unprecedented flexibility with compute. But you need this flexibility with more than just compute. Here at AWS, we've focused on giving you this type of flexibility in many areas. For example, moving your data to the cloud will give you the flexibility to unlock the power of your information with analytics and machine learning. To tell you more, I'd like to welcome to the stage Dorothy Li, Vice President, AWS Business Intelligence and Analytics.
Thank you, Peter. Over the years here at Amazon, I've had a passion for building products and services that are simple, flexible, and delightful to use, such as Amazon Kindle and Prime. As Vice President of Business Intelligence and Analytics, I'm now focused on helping our customers get more value from their data. I feel confident in saying that right now, flexibility has never been more important than when it comes to getting better value from your data. Choice matters for all the services we discussed today, but it really matters for your data. A good data strategy is critical to enabling you to take advantage of technologies like analytics and machine learning. We're all generating more data than ever. In every hour today, we're creating more data than what we did in an entire year 20 years ago. And in the next 3 years, there will be more data created than the prior 30 years combined. We're increasingly viewing data, analytics, and machine learning as strategic to our business. Between user-generated content, log files, transactions, and IoT data, you're probably gathering a lot more data than you used to. This is why it is so important to have a platform that has the flexibility to manage this wide variety of information and helps you become a data-driven organization. Let me share an example from a few years ago when I was working on Amazon Kindle. We were looking for ways to improve customer engagement with our mobile applications. One of the ideas the team had was to give away free books to customers when they signed up for the app. Now, this is a scary idea. Our Kindle apps are already free, so the only time we make money is when people actually buy books from the store. But because we're a data-driven company that values experimentation, we decided to try it out and see what the data told us. Happily, what we found ended up confirming our hypothesis. Those customers who were offered free books became our most engaged Kindle readers, while the cohort that was presented with only samples were less likely to engage with Kindle over time. And because we made this data available across Amazon, teams like Amazon Prime were able to use it when building a much larger offering with free books, now being available to everyone with a Prime subscription. This is why data-driven organizations consider data to be a cross-organizational asset. There is so much business value that can be unlocked by setting up processes to collect and share data rather than keeping it in silos or treating it as the property of individual departments. For example, your customer service database can be combined with your order database to better understand operational issues. But for this data to have value, it has to be democratized, meaning that it's properly classified and securely made available to anyone who needs to use it. Lastly, to be a data-driven organization, you need to put your data to work through analytics and machine learning. Analysis through modern data tools is the best way to make decisions, create efficiencies, and drive new innovations for your customers. This is why Amazon, along with many of our most successful customers, are embracing a data-driven culture as a competitive advantage. Now, I think there are 3 key phases that you should look at when making the journey to becoming more data-driven. Some of you may already be well down the path, while others may not even know where to start. But there's value to be captured at each phase. The first step is to migrate off of on-premises databases and storage solutions and onto a modern cloud data infrastructure. Once you've migrated, the second phase is liberating the data by breaking down data silos and make data more accessible to anyone who needs it. And the third is to harness the power of that data using AI and machine learning. Let's start with how you can modernize your data infrastructure and migrate to more flexible, purpose-built data stores. For those of you running legacy data infrastructure on-prem or self-managed in the cloud, you know the management of this infrastructure is tedious, time-consuming, and expensive. This legacy data structure requires a lot of undifferentiated heavy lifting. You worry about hardware and software installation and configuration, performance and availability, scalability issues such as capacity planning and cluster scaling, and security and compliance issues. And many of the on-prem databases live with old guard commercial-grade database providers like Oracle and Microsoft with SQL Server. And these are expensive, proprietary, have large, high amounts of lock-in and punitive licensing terms. Because of this, many builders are trying to migrate as fast as they can to open source databases. However, getting the same performance on open source databases as you can get on commercial grade databases can be difficult. The most straightforward and simple solution for many customers who are struggling to maintain their own relational databases at scale is a move to a managed database service, like Amazon RDS or Amazon Aurora. Amazon Aurora is a MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible relational database built for the cloud that combines the performance and availability of high-end commercial databases with the simplicity and cost-effectiveness of open source databases. Aurora is up to 5 times faster than standard MySQL databases and 3 times the throughput of standard PostgreSQL, with the security, availability, and reliability of commercial-grade databases at 1/10 the cost. So Aurora is hugely popular. But in a world where you're now dealing with petabytes and sometimes exabytes of data, a relational database doesn't always make sense. Relational databases have been around for so long that most developers are comfortable with them. But using relational databases for tasks they're not well suited for can be expensive, add unnecessary overhead, and underperform for some use cases. And that's what we've been working on in these last several years. We've built 7 of these purpose-built databases, more than what you'll find anywhere else by a fair amount. And you need a cloud provider that gives you the flexibility to choose the right database for the right job. So I'll give you some examples. If you're a company like Lyft, and you have millions of geolocations and driver combinations, you don't want a relational database. You want a high-throughput, low-latency, key-value store like DynamoDB with libraries specifically built for geospatial data. Or if you're a company like Siemens Energy, and you're connecting all these different graphs of information for fleets of gas turbines across the globe that have relationships attached to them, you want a graph database like Neptune. But having the flexibility of these modern databases available isn't enough. You need to be able to migrate quickly and easily. Moving to a low-cost or more capable database doesn't have to be a difficult process. At AWS, we offer a few options for customers trying to migrate. For many migrations, the self-service path using the database migration service and schema conversion tool offers the tools necessary to execute a migration. For assistance in the migration process, there are also several migration partners that offer expertise as well. And there's the Database Freedom Program, which is the best option for customers looking to move away from the punitive licensing costs of commercial database vendors and avoiding the vendor lock-in. Database Freedom is a unique program designed to assist customers migrating to AWS database and analytics services by providing technical advice, migration support, and financial assistance. Once you've migrated to modern data infrastructure, you can begin liberating your data. Across the board, I see organizations looking to use their data to make better decisions quickly as changes occur. And to achieve this agility, you need to integrate vast amounts of data that were previously siloed in order to get a complete view of their customers and business operations. To liberate your data and gain faster insights across a diverse set of information, many companies like BMW Group and Experian are migrating all their data from various silos into a single location, often called a data lake. Centralizing all your data is key to unlocking its value using advanced capabilities like analytics and machine learning. With the data lake, you can provide controlled data access to the data scientists, developers, and business analysts in your organization. They can then access the data lake using their choice of analytic and machine learning tools and immediately start creating value for your business. So how do you build a data lake? It all starts with Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is the best place to build a data lake because it has unmatched flexibility, durability, availability, and scalability. It is built to store and retrieve any amount of data with unmatched availability and built from the ground up to deliver 11 nines of durability. However, S3 is just one piece of a modern data lake architecture. Our customers are using purpose-built analytics services on top of their data lake in S3 to solve various big data use cases. If you want to do ad hoc query on data directly in your S3 data lake using standard SQL, you can use Athena. If you want to process vast amounts of unstructured data across dynamically scalable clusters using popular distributed frameworks like Spark, Hadoop, and Presto, you can use EMR. EMR also runs directly against the data stored in your S3 data lake, so you don't need to move or transform your data. And if you want to quickly search and analyze large amounts of log data to monitor the health of your production systems and troubleshoot problems, you can use Elasticsearch Service. If you want to do real-time processing of streaming data, you can use Kinesis. And if you have structured data where you want super fast querying results, you want something like a data warehouse. And we have Redshift, which was the first data warehouse built for the cloud and really disrupted the economics of data warehousing. Redshift is the only cloud data warehouse that lets you run queries at exabyte scale against your data lake and at petabyte scale in your cluster. Redshift also enables querying of operational data stores such as Amazon Aurora. Redshift provides fast performance at any scale, delivering up to 3 times better price performance than other cloud data warehouses. Now, we recently launched several features for Redshift, including Aqua, a new hardware-accelerated cache that uses purpose-built processors to deliver up to 10 times better performance than any other data warehouse solution. And now, please welcome Dr. Justo A. Ortiz, Vice Chairman, UnionBank of the Philippines, to share how AWS enabled them to drive growth, sustainability, and increase financial inclusion for Philippine citizens.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for this invitation. In 8 minutes, I have the honor to share with you a small part of UnionBank's transformation strategy and how technology and key partners became instrumental in our 8-year journey to date. UnionBank's transformation journey involved 6 pillars: culture, strategy, space, process, people, and partnerships. In the process pillar, among the technologies we decided to build capabilities on is the cloud, which complemented our push for financial inclusion and inclusive prosperity. Financial inclusion is a big theme in the Philippines, with about 70% of the adult population, or more than 50 million Filipinos, unbanked or underbanked. Aside from it serving as UnionBank's higher purpose, the challenge of banking the unbanked and underbanked was also a test for us to become a low-cost producer by reimagining our existing processes, both back-end and front-facing. How to serve this widely dispersed market characterized by small-ticket, high-frequency, and therefore high-volume transactions in a cost-effective and operationally excellent way became the goal. The idea was that if we can make it here, we can make it anywhere, and could import these learned competencies into the existing products and channels. We can increase our margins by lowering our unit cost to serve and driving our marginal cost to near zero, which are only possible by becoming digital at the core and having dynamic scaling capabilities. Thus, when we embarked on our transformation journey way back in 2015, we started with the objective of building a single back-end to serve all channels, but anchored on the most demanding channel, which is mobile banking. Our existing systems and processes supported traditional channels very efficiently, but could not support the mobile banking channel. So we built the back end to support the mobile banking channel and used the same one to support existing physical channels as well. A single omni-channel back end. With our infrastructure ready for the demanding mobile banking channel, we were able to 1. Deliver the minimum digital hygiene of 24/7 availability, Six Sigma reliability, real-time processing, safe and secure. 2. Launch our award-winning mobile banking app. And 3. Convert our branch network into paperless hubs with no tellers, no operations personnel, and self-service iPad devices to digitally complete, with no human intervention, non-cash branch transactions. We call these digitally transformed branches the ARC. Among other technologies and first principles thinking, integral to these initiatives is going to the cloud, which is the first step towards driving down our cost to serve. With this basic foundation in place, we were ready to focus on our mass market journey and test the viability of this business model. Our strategy was anchored on building platforms all on the cloud by default. We built I2I, our cloud-based blockchain-enabled platform, which linked together rural banks and cooperatives into one network where value is exchanged through PHX, our UnionBank stablecoin approved by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. The I2I network connected rural banks and cooperatives to the national retail payment system and extended to each rural bank the entire network as its own branch network of more than 1,200 branches nationwide in rural areas to transact real-time funds transfers, remittances, bills payments, mobile ATM, and other branch-based services seamlessly. we built a suite of platforms all on AWS Cloud to enable SMEs to easily engage in e-commerce and scale nationally by providing plug-and-play capabilities. Centro is a solution which helps SMEs set up an online shop with a pre-integrated payment gateway and default logistics partner. Bucks is a payment gateway that allows our Centro SME and other online merchants to organize customer payments from various channels over third-party counters, online banking, e-wallets, or even cash on delivery. CCAP is our open, bank-agnostic lending digital marketplace that utilizes alternative scoring techniques and artificial intelligence to assess an MSME's creditworthiness and offer financing options based on transactional behavior from multiple lending institutions. These SME platforms, together with our mobile app, which allows digital account opening, mobile check deposit, send and receive cash across more than 10,000 partner counters, and many more features, led to our customers voting UnionBank as the second most helpful bank in Asia Pacific during this public health crisis. With our mass market and SME customers transacting in our digital platforms and our mobile app, all operating on the cloud, we now have the foundation for greater customer engagement, loyalty, and share of wallet. With the volume, velocity, and variety of structured and unstructured data coming into our systems, we are able to collect, store, organize, analyze, and insight for next best offers and personalized solutions by applying data science and artificial intelligence to improve revenue streams in a customer-centric manner. The long-term goal is to hyper-personalize at scale and democratize banking. This would require speed, higher levels of computing power, dynamic scalability, and cost efficiently, only possible in a cloud-enabled environment with the help of our partner, AWS. We focused on inclusive prosperity as a path to sustainability, but also as a proof of concept for the banking model of the future. The jaws of the tiger need to open. The lower jaw to drop down with marginal cost to serve near zero, and the upper jaw to lift up with better margins and share of wallet from a wider breadth of customers using digital channels, data science, and AI. Going to the cloud is among the first steps, but the journey is not only about technology, but mostly about people, mindset, and culture. New ways of thinking, new ways of doing, to unlearn, relearn, and keep learning. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me today.
Once you have migrated your data to a modern infrastructure and you have broken down data silos, you've set yourself up for our third step in the path to becoming data-driven, innovating with machine learning. You can apply machine learning to help solve your most pressing business challenges and create new opportunities. This is really where the magic happens. In fact, we have many customers who start by asking for ML or AI. We end up needing to work backwards, first forming a data strategy. We see a world where ML is built into every function of your business. Now, I feel confident in saying Machine learning is the most impactful technology of our lifetime, and organizations cannot survive without it. Machine learning should be adding intelligence to every part of your organization. More than 100,000 customers use AWS for machine learning today, from creating a more personalized customer experience to developing personalized pharmaceuticals. These tools are no longer a niche investment. Our customers are applying machine learning to the core of their business. Let's take a look at some examples. Domino's Pizza uses machine learning for predictive ordering to help meet its goal of delivering hot, fresh pizzas in 10 minutes or less following an order. Roche, the second largest pharmaceutical company in the world, uses Amazon SageMaker to accelerate the delivery of treatments and tailor medical experiences. The NFL uses machine learning as part of its player health and safety initiative. With the right data foundation in place, our customers are innovating in their space and creating competitive advantage by doing this. Our customers choose to run their machine learning workloads on AWS because of our flexibility, depth, and breadth of services, and rapid pace of innovation. Let's take a look. At AWS, we think of machine learning like a stack, where each layer builds on the one below it. As you go up the stack, we work to decrease complexity and make machine learning easier to use and integrate with your applications. At the bottom layer of the ML stack, we provide capabilities for expert machine learning practitioners, including optimized versions of the most popular deep learning frameworks, including PyTorch, MXNet, and TensorFlow. And AWS provides the broadest and deepest portfolio of ML infrastructure services, with the choice of processors and accelerators to meet your unique performance and budget needs, as Peter mentioned earlier. At the middle layer, we have Amazon SageMaker, which allows developers and data scientists to build, train, and deploy machine learning models at scale. SageMaker includes a broad set of capabilities, many of which are both novel and unique to AWS. And these services are available through an integrated development environment for machine learning, which we call SageMaker Studio. By standardizing on SageMaker, you can remove the complexity from each step of the machine learning workflow so that it's faster, more cost-effective, and easier to do. We have customers from virtually every industry using SageMaker, including financial services, healthcare, media, sports, retail, automotive, and manufacturing. Customers are seeing significant results from standardizing their ML workloads on SageMaker. For instance, Lyft's autonomous vehicle division, Level 5, reduced model training time from days to hours. Vanguard deploys workloads up to 20 times faster. And ADP reduced time to deploy machine learning models from 2 weeks to just 1 day. As you can see, we built new tools across the entirety of the machine learning workflow to help develop and manage ML models at scale. And at the top layer are our AI services, which are helping customers adopt ML without having to build their own ML models from scratch. With the right data in place, using our AI services, you can be up and running with AI-driven solutions in minutes, with no ML experience required. We've applied Amazon's more than 20 years of experience in machine learning to deliver services such as Amazon Personalize for personalized recommendations and Amazon Forecast to automatically create custom demand forecasts. we're using machine learning to solve real business challenges for our customers. Amazon Kendra is one example. It's an end-to-end intelligent search solution which can connect to multiple data sources and uses ML to create an accurate index which can be searched with natural language queries. Again, no ML experience required. Customers can build and customize their index and search interface without writing a line of code. Amazon Code Guru allows developers to use machine learning to provide automatic code review, providing guidance and recommendations on how to fix some truly hard-to-find bugs. And we just launched DevOps Guru to easily improve an application's operational performance and availability. And at reinvent 2020, we launched the preview of Amazon Lookout for Metrics, which uses machine learning to detect anomalies in virtually any time series data. With Kendra, we built a service that helps you search through unstructured data. But sometimes you have structured business data you need to search through. And that's why we built Amazon QuickSight Q. With QuickSight Q, you simply type words in the Q search bar using natural language. And Q uses sophisticated deep learning, natural language processing, schema understanding, and semantic parsing to simplify your search. Another example is Amazon Connect, our contact center in the cloud. Contact center agents are on the front line of your customer service. But as you've probably noticed, today's legacy contact center solutions have a bunch of problems that get in the way of delivering excellent customer experiences. Amazon Connect is based on the same technology used by Amazon for 10 years. You can set up, configure your contact center in minutes, and it's easy to configure. There's no infrastructure to deploy or manage, and it scales up and down based on your usage. You can save up to 80% over traditional contact center solutions. Connect is the first contact center built from the ground up with the cloud and machine learning, where we provide automatic voice transcription, sentiment analysis, and analytics using ML. As you can see, we've completely reimagined call centers. And many of these horizontal application spaces are ripe for change. By having a flexible platform with the broadest and deepest set of tools, you can quickly take advantage of these opportunities. How about vertical business segments? Ask yourself, which of these have the potential for huge transformation? And the answer is all of them. Let's look at a few examples. One area where we're seeing a lot of reinvention happening is in industrial manufacturing, where they're using data in the cloud and in nodes at the edge to rethink how their design processes on the production line from supply chain to finished product. We've launched 5 new capabilities designed to help customers in industrial manufacturing to improve their process from start to finish. Another industry with a lot of valuable data that is working to reinvent itself is healthcare. Healthcare data is often spread out across various systems, such as electronic medical records, lab systems, and exists in dozens of incompatible formats, making it hard to gain insights. To help with this, we launched Amazon Health Lake, which transforms data automatically, extracting meaningful medical information from raw, disparate data. Health Lake organizes data in chronological order so that you can look at trends like disease progression over time, giving healthcare organizations new tools to improve care and intervene earlier. While machine learning is getting considerably easier through our services, it can still be a complex process. So we also offer several ways to help you get started. To help you identify a use case and bring it to proof of concept, we have the Amazon ML Solutions Lab. It combines hands-on educational workshops with brainstorming sessions to help you work backwards from business challenges, and then we take you step by step through the process of developing machine learning-based solutions to those challenges. Where customers want greater involvement, we have a large professional services organization and a deep bench of ML competency partners who work closely with you to deliver total solutions. I'd like to introduce Datuk Arif Mahmood, PETRONAS Executive Vice President and CEO of Downstream, to share how AWS is helping them innovate while progressing on their cloud adoption journey.
A very good day to all, and thank you to AWS for inviting me to be part of your 2021 AWS Summit Online ASEAN. As you know, 2020 has been an unprecedented year given COVID-19 pandemic. For the oil and gas industry, we saw at peak of the crisis a 20%, that is 20 million barrels a day, reduction of crude demand from the market. Say if the oil price is $50 a barrel, that is 1 billion of economic value disappeared from the market per day, not taking into account its multiplier effect. Also coupled with the oversupply situation, we experienced a reduction in crude oil price where it went down to an unsustainable level of $9 a barrel in 2020, from $70 a barrel at the end of 2019. But on the flip side, 2020 is also a year where some companies like Amazon thrive in this situation. They were able to adapt and react quickly to capture the opportunities given the increase in demand and the needs of customers. 2020 was also the year we saw escalated commitment by all stakeholders to accelerate the low-carbon economy and energy transition. And we observe acceleration in digital efforts across all industries in driving operational excellence and enabling a new way of working in serving the customers. Essentially, the world has changed. I think more than ever in the history of oil and gas industry, the world has truly changed and a new normal has now been established. What seems to be impossible now has been proven possible. Massive number of people working from home, pervasive online commerce, including industrial products, more alternative and greener source of energy, voluntary commitment of stakeholders to net zero carbon, much more efficient consumption, and so on. What does this all mean to PETRONAS? As demand for fossil fuel is expected to decline and margin continues to be under threat, we need to quickly adapt to this new normal and pivot. We need to rethink about our business model and portfolio. So in PETRONAS, what have we done and what else needs to be accelerated? A key lesson for us from the crisis is to do both extremely well, perform and transform. We have been very focused on perform all these years, on what we can do to operate like clockwork, safer, more reliable and efficient, with an obsession for customers. Also, growing mainly our core oil and gas business. Transform is now what we need. We need to ideate and develop new solutions and business at pace and at scale. This is the area that we need to invest more time, resources, and efforts to reshape our current oil and gas portfolio. In order to achieve this, we need to change our mindset from a production-centric to customer-centric, capitalize on new tools and capabilities, also change the ways of working. We need to innovate and go to market at pace. We need to do things differently, leverage on technologies and digital in order to perform much better in our existing business while we identify and build new business to rebalance our portfolio. It is no longer a choice for us. From AWS Formula One case study, it is clear that Formula One is a data-driven sport. During each race, 120 sensors on each car generate 3 GB of data, and 1,500 data points were generated each second and stream real-time race data to the cloud. Formula One's data scientists then train the deep learning models with more than 65 years of historical data and extract critical race performance statistics, making race predictions and give fans insight into split-second decisions and strategies adopted by teams and drivers. Then, by deploying advanced machine learning, Formula One can pinpoint how a driver is performing and whether or not drivers have been pushed themselves over the limits. To fulfill the Formula One needs, the cloud providers need to have speed, scalability, reliability, global reach, and partner community. These powerful insights and predictions need to be delivered in real time. In Formula One, the obsession of data and transforming them into valuable insights and taking immediate action is key to winning. The drivers and the engineers behind the scene will then capitalize on the data and insight for immediate decision-making and future improvement. How data and cloud solution being used in decision-making is the benchmark for us. Therefore, working with AWS and others, we have developed several building blocks to accelerate our transformation efforts. The first is cloud. This will enable us to disseminate information and data at pace and at scale. AWS is one of our partners that's enabling this for us. We believe through the advancement of cloud, the flexibility, scalability, and technology services that it enables is key for us to test and deploy new solutions at pace. The second is that we need to ensure data is at the center of decision making. So having a single source of truth through a data lake strategy or data management platform is essential to ensure data collection and synthesis across the value chain for accurate, timely, and fully informed decision making. Through cloud solutions around value chain, visibility, and analytics, we collaborated with AWS and others on data lakes and analytics projects such as DAF, where we de-silo the organization through data transparency to achieve most optimized cost to serve across the total value chain to facilitate competitive pricing and segmentation of one. Through DAF, we have completely altered the way our sales team interact with the customers. With market insights and cost drivers at their fingertips, they can be ahead of competitors when they can confidently price the products on the spot to the customers. Pivot is another project that we've developed the user-centric dashboard for our operations team and capitalize on advanced analytics to optimize maintenance and improve safety, reliability, and efficiency of our facilities. We are also currently building digital twins with IoT of our facilities to allow for safe and remote autonomous operations. This is really important to drive new level of safety performance and operational efficiency in our capital and asset-intensive energy business, with multiple business facilities across the total value chain. We believe that through the advancement of cloud, we can move towards smart facilities of the future across operations through concepts such as Unified Operation Center, digitally enabled field operators and workers, virtual plant tour, or use of robotics in our field operations. Going beyond capturing and managing data, the access to advanced AI and machine learning technologies that AWS cloud service providers offer means we can do so much more with our data. It allows us to innovate, experiment, and scale solutions on demand, riding on the R&D and product that has been proven in industry. In serving our customers, our route-to-market efforts leverage on customers' data and information to build closer relationship with our customers and allow us to make informed decisions. As we push the boundaries of digital, reliability of the system, cybersecurity and cost effectiveness can no longer be compromised. This is where cloud solution offerings through partners like AWS has its advantage, given the innovation and investment made in providing these services and solutions. But the most critical element in this evolving flywheel is actually the people and culture to enable the delivery of business solutions and growth. We are currently working with AWS and other partners in transforming PETRONAS into an agile enterprise. We want to build a sustainable culture of innovation in PETRONAS. Together with AWS, we had customized our innovation engine program where we leverage on AWS working backwards and agile methodology to unleash the potential innovation capacity within the group. They are to ideate, incubate, and launch new businesses. The pilot program that is currently ongoing will start with our top 500 executive and talent across the entire group. The plan is for us to scale the program to beyond the first 500 employees and institutionalize this innovation culture across PETRONAS. On that note, in order to be ahead in solutioning for customers, the way forward is through partnerships, collaborations, and co-creations. I would like to invite partners like AWS to continue to raise the bar in working with us in PETRONAS. For us in the energy industry, solving the energy trilemma of affordable, secure, and sustainable energy needs concerted efforts by all stakeholders. In closing, I'd like to thank the AWS team for the support since the beginning of PETRONAS' digital transformation journey. And all the best to Conor and the entire AWS ASEAN team.
So to recap, you have a significant opportunity to become a data-driven organization. We've shown today how critical it is that you migrate to a modern data infrastructure with flexible, purpose-built data stores. And that liberating your data with Data Lake will enable you to make the most of your information. And lastly, unlocking the power of your data using AI and machine learning. However, some customers are still sorting out how they can bring the flexibility of the AWS cloud to their business. Peter, can you come back on stage and share some of your thoughts on hybrid?
Thank you, Dorothy. That's a lot of flexibility. We've talked about a lot of flexibility today, and having the flexibility to choose the right service across compute and data is so important to running your workloads in the cloud. But equally important is having the flexibility of where to run your workloads. Some people talk about this as hybrid cloud. We think of this as enabling customers to have the flexibility to run their workloads wherever they need. For example, we make it easy to run the software you use on your on-premise infrastructure in the cloud. If you're using virtualization in your data center, it's likely you're running on VMware. And by integrating VMware with our i3 bare metal EC2 instances powered by Nitro, we were able to enable customers to run the full VMware software-defined data center stack, including the ESXi hypervisor, directly on AWS managed infrastructure. This is actually another great example of how Nitro has enabled us to innovate fast and deliver flexible solutions that simply weren't possible before. With VMware Cloud on AWS, you can extend your on-premises infrastructure into the cloud while using the same skills, processes, and governance you do to manage your on-premise infrastructure. But flexibility works the other way as well. Some of our customers want to take advantage of AWS services, but still use their on-premises computing capacity. For example, what if you've containerized your applications and want to run ECS or EKS containers on the servers you already have in your data center? That's why we developed Amazon ECS Anywhere and Amazon EKS Anywhere. ECS and EKS Anywhere let you run the containers in the cloud and on your on-premises infrastructure with the same APIs and cluster management features. But flexibility is more than just extending your applications from on-premises into the cloud and vice versa. It's about running your application anywhere in the world. Here's a map of the AWS global infrastructure. Each of these little dots is actually a big AWS region. There are currently 25 AWS regions, as well as another 5 that we have announced coming in the near future. And each of these regions is made up of multiple independent availability zones. In total, we have 80 availability zones across our AWS global infrastructure. This global infrastructure gives you the flexibility to run your applications all over the world. But As we have talked to customers, we have found that customers will benefit from even more flexibility. So, of course, we looked into ways to help. Let's look at some of the ways that we can help you run your workloads in even more places. AWS local zones are a new type of AWS infrastructure that places compute, storage, databases, and other AWS services close to population centers. With local zones, you can run your latency-sensitive applications close to your end users. Local zones provide single-digit millisecond latency for use cases such as media and entertainment, content creation, real-time gaming, and machine learning workloads that need low latency. We launched our first local zone in Los Angeles in 2019, and we've recently added local zones in Boston, Houston, and Miami. We'll be launching 12 additional local zones this year. With local zones, we've given customers another way to run workloads closer to their customers, but still use the same familiar AWS services, APIs, and tools. But what if you need AWS infrastructure somewhere that we don't yet have a region or a local zone, or even closer to your existing infrastructure? That's why we built AWS Outpost, which effectively give you the flexibility to run AWS infrastructure and services anywhere that you can install a rack. Outposts are racks of AWS servers with AWS compute, storage, database, analytics services running on them. With an Outpost, we took all of the know-how of 15 years of operating infrastructure at scale, along with our innovative Nitro platform, and brought them all to your data center. We deliver it, we install it, we do all the maintenance, including firmware patching, operational and security upgrades. With AWS Outposts, you get the same APIs, the same control plane, the same tools, and the same hardware that you get in the public cloud. And while Outpost gives you the flexibility to run almost anywhere, what if you want to use Outpost in a smaller space, like a branch office, where you only need maybe 1 or 2 servers? At reInvent, we announced smaller AWS Outposts in a 1U and a 2U form factor. And for those of you that don't speak U, a 1U server is basically the size of a pizza box. So these are small rack-mountable servers that will provide local compute and networking services to edge locations that have limited space or smaller capacity requirements. You can think of things like retail stores, branch offices, healthcare providers, factory floors. But we aren't done yet. People are very excited about 5G. 5G can enable you to build low latency applications without managing any local infrastructure. But any application that wants to do anything interesting is going to need compute and storage. And typically, that's on AWS. For mobile applications to leverage that infrastructure, they have to go from the device to the mobile network, to the local aggregation site, to the regional aggregation site, to the internet, to AWS, and back. And that's not low latency. That's dozens to hundreds of milliseconds. Not nearly fast enough to run the sorts of applications that people are envisioning with 5Gs. Things like connected vehicles, smart factories, gaming, immersive AR, VR experiences. So customers wanted us to help them find a way to change that. And that's why we launched AWS Wavelength, which extends AWS to the 5G edge carriers so that you only have to go from the device to the metro 5G aggregation site to access local AWS infrastructure. That means you get the same developer experience, tooling, and AWS services at the 5G edge to build your low latency applications and services. Wavelength is available in 10 cities across the US with Verizon. It's also available in Tokyo and Osaka, Japan with KDDI, and in South Korea with SK Telecom. Wavelength is great for apps with amazing connectivity. But what if you need to operate in locations with limited or no connectivity? Increasingly, there are more and more applications that run in vehicles or drones or ships that need something portable, ruggedized, and able to operate with minimal connectivity. This is why we built our Snow family of devices. This family of devices includes Snowball Edge and Snowcone, which are different sized hardware applications that you can bring to the disconnected edge. These devices help you physically transport exabytes of data into and out of the AWS cloud. And they have built-in compute so you can do some analytics and processing at the edge. They're ideal for local data collection and processing in remote places, from bases and ships to first responder vehicles to even mobile media teams working on foot. And if at any point you want to detach that appliance and send it back to us, we'll ingest the data so you can do large-scale analytics with the services that Dorothy talked about earlier today. We continue to think that in the fullness of time, the vast majority of computing will end up in the cloud. The cost, agility, and functionality advantages are just too great. But we also understand that location matters. Whether that location is your existing data center with your legacy applications or wherever you need to be to best serve your customers. AWS is going to continue to focus on giving you the flexibility to run your applications wherever makes the most sense. That's our vision for flexible hybrid solutions. Today we talked about our tenet of flexibility and how this pushed our teams to create a platform that lets builders build the way they want. The result of this is the broadest and deepest set of services and functionality that can help your organization move faster than it otherwise could. During this summit, you'll have the opportunity to attend sessions on many of the services we discussed briefly here today, as well as sessions on topics we did not have a chance to cover. Please take advantage of as many of these as you can. I want to thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.